Here are 10 things you didn't know about Illmatic. 10 facts that connect Nas to Busta Rhymes, Russell Simmons, Phife Dawg, and MC Search. And keep watching because I have a bonus fact that you probably didn't know about Illmatic. So with that being said, here are 10 things you didn't know about Illmatic. The first song recorded for Illmatic was Halftime. The first song Nas actually recorded as a solo artist was for the soundtrack to a 1992 film called Zebrahead. The song was released as a single and it even has a music video.
Me and Large Professor was working on an album, and that was one of the records that we made for the album. And at the time there was a soundtrack to this movie, Zebrahead, and they needed a song. And it felt like it needed to come out right then at that point anyway, so he's like, there you go, right there, you good.
So Nas ended up hanging on to Halftime for 2 years and putting it on Illmatic, and the rest that they say is history. But that's just one fact, there's 9 more to go. Actually 10 more with the bonus. There's a few facts about Large Professor, we'll talk about a couple samples from the album, and even the album cover. But first, let's talk about One Love for a little bit. One Love was recorded in Phife Dawg's basement. Large Professor remembers a time when Nas was hanging out with him at the house and he asked him, "You think Q-Tip would want to work with me?" And Large Professor was like, "Hell effing yeah. He asked about you the other day and shit." And so he said they wound up at Phife's crib in the basement and Tip was like, "If we work, we're gonna use this record." And he plays the record for One Love, the Heath Brothers joint, the same one Redman used for Superman Lover 3 from Muddy Waters. As a matter of fact, let's listen to Q-Tip talk about the making of One Love for a minute.
Large Professor hit me and told me, yo, you need to link up with Nas. I know you got it. It was Large and Akinelli and Nas that came out. We had a little setup in Phife's basement. Nas was like, yeah, I just need that shit you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that mystic shit. I played him what was to become One Love.
I was so honored to get Q-Tip on this record. I mean, he must have liked what I was doing. He must have saw it being something he wanted to be a part of. He expressed to me that he liked what I was doing, and it was good from there.
The childhood pic of Nas on the album cover has a rip in it. Alright, I got the Illmatic album cover up on the screen right now. Can you see what I'm talking about? It's actually really noticeable, but until I was making this video, I had forgotten about it. In the bottom right corner, there's this big white rip on the photo from where the word Illmatic ends to past the parental advisory sticker. It's a rip in the pic that covers pretty much the whole bottom section of the cover. Large Professor explained where the rip probably came from. One time when Large Professor went to Nas's house, Nas told him, "Yo, this the flick I'ma use for the album cover." He had it under a piece of glass, and I guess when he went to go grab it, the glass must have stuck right there. That's what I love about hip hop. When mistakes happen, sometimes we don't even try to fix it. We just roll with it and make it work. I'm about to reveal a fact about the album title, but before I do that, keep in mind that later on, I got some facts coming up about Life's a Bitch, more about Large Professor, and about Russell Simmons and Busta Rhymes. But first, I bet you didn't know that Illmatic was dedicated to one of Nas's incarcerated friends. If you ever wanted to know how Illmatic got its name, I got that answer for you. It's named after one of Nas's homies from back in the day. And actually, he was gonna name it something else, but I'll tell you that story a little later. Anyway, in one of Nas's first interviews, he revealed that Illmatic was dedicated to Illmatic Ice, Nas's friend who was convicted of homicide. Here's what Nas had to say about his friend and naming the album after him. "I dedicated Illmatic to my man Illmatic Ice doing time for a murder right now because he was a strong man and he made his own rules for the game and he ain't take nothing from nobody. And he was kind of like a strong path to follow and look at. Even though he got caught up and misled into the wrong situation and now he's caught in the system right now, I still dedicated the album to him." Life's a Bitch was gonna have a different beat at first. Did y'all know that Nas wanted LES, the producer of Life's a Bitch, to sample Mtume's Juicy Fruit to make the beat for that song? That's crazy, right? I'm trying to picture it in my head. It might have worked, to be honest with you. But of course you know who ended up sampling that song though, the late great Notorious B.I.G. for Juicy. Nas talked about this in the article from XXL a few years back about the making of Illmatic. "I asked LES to bring a copy of Mtume's Juicy Fruit." Y'all know Nas sound like that. I wanted to sample Juicy. He didn't have the record, so he bought the Gap Band's Journey for Your Love instead. Looped it up, and I was like, yo, it ain't Juicy, but it's a whole nother month. This video is sponsored by Monev360 of Back to the Boom Bap's drum kit called Back to the Breakbeats. If you're a boom bap producer, you'll definitely want to get this drum kit. It has kicks like this, snares like this, hi-hats like this, and drum loops or break beats like this. So you can use the drum hits, you can use the drum loops, you can chop up the loops, you can use them as is, you can do whatever you want to do. As a matter of fact, the beat that you listen to right now was made with this drum kit. It doesn't matter what DAW you use or what hardware you use, you can use this drum kit. So if you want to make dope boom bap beats, then you gotta get Back to the Breakbeats. It will be linked in the description or in the pinned comment below. While ILLMATIC sampled from the likes of Michael Jackson, the Gap Band, and Houdini, it was the audio sample from the 1983 film Wild Style, which was the hardest one to clear. I definitely would have thought that the Human Nature sample would have been the hardest one to clear. But when you really think about it, Michael was on Sony too, so somebody knew somebody that made some phone calls and they made it happen. But the sample in question is for the first track on the album, The Genesis, but I'll let MC Search tell you how it all went down. The most difficult sample to clear was with Wild Style director Charlie Ahern, believe it or not. We had made a deal with Charlie, and then Fab Five Freddy got into the mix and started getting into Charlie's ear like, nah, you didn't get enough money. The funny thing was, Fab Five Freddy was about to direct the One Love video. So I'm calling Freddy like, what are you telling your man? I'm about to cut you a check. You're about to direct a video. Get on the same page. Freddy said, are you threatening me? I'm like, nah, it's not a threat. I'm just saying, you don't take care of this, you're not gonna be directing no video. I haven't spoke to Fab Five Freddy since. A lot of years have passed since this interview, so I hope they squashed it. But either way, I'm glad they were able to make it work so we could get the intro to the album and have it sound the way that Nas intended it to sound. Nas's dad took him to see Wild Style when he was a shorty, and he loved it since then. Large Professor would edit Nas's rhymes. Large Professor edited, not wrote Nas's rhymes. Don't you dare go say you heard Back to the Boom Bap say that Large Pro ghost wrote ILLMATIC. I didn't say that. He was an editor. That's what producers do. They coach vocals and try to make sure your energy level is up and you maintain it throughout the song. And they critique your bars. Nas confirms this. He helped me because I only knew half of what was going on, said Nas to Mass Appeal back in 2002. I knew about the pen touching the paper. Paul knew that too. Paul is Large Professor, but he also knew to tell me, don't say this. Take that out. Why would you say this? That makes you look crazy. This word don't make no sense. He taught me everything. Russell Simmons passed on signing Nas. There's a lot of rappers that were originally going to be signed to different labels than they ended up signing to. There's Kanye, Game, Eminem, and Nas is on that list too. It's been reported that Russell Simmons passed on Nas for two reasons. The first reason is because Simmons was predicting that the album would be a commercial flop. He was kind of right as far as that goes because it didn't really sell well at first. And his second reason is because he said that Nas sounded too much like Kool G Rap. But I somewhat disagree with Russell's opinion here because while a lot of our favorite MCs from the 90s, including Nas, were influenced by G-Rap, Nas was original and unique enough that you could tell that it wasn't intentional. He clearly has his own style. Busta Rhymes could have had the halftime beat. There's not much else I can say about this. I'll read it straight from complex.com. Busta Rhymes once told XXL that Large Professor made the beat that would later become halftime in front of him. But once Busta got the beat, he didn't know what to do with it. He told XXL, then I heard it on halftime and I was like, God damn, I was a stupid ass for not touching this beat. That's how the story always goes when MCs pass on beats that end up going to other rappers. They don't see the vision of it. And what's more, they even forget that they could have had it first because when they hear the MC who was meant for it, it even makes the beat sound better to them. It's funny how that works. ILLMATIC has been re-released at least 3 other times since its initial April 19th, 1994 release date. So after Illmatic, there was Illmatic 10th Anniversary Platinum Edition, released on March 30th, 2004. Then there was Illmatic 20, the 20th Anniversary Edition, which was released on April 15th, 2014. Both of these contain previously unreleased tracks, remixes, and/or instrumentals from the recording sessions of Illmatic. The third one, which is a live recording, is called Illmatic Live from the Kennedy Center. It features Nas being backed up by the National Symphony Orchestra to perform the full album live on stage. It was released on April 21st, 2018. And remember earlier when I said I was going to tell you the story of what Nas was going to name his album before he changed it to Illmatic? Well, now is that time. Illmatic was not the album's original title. MC Search told XXL that Nas wanted to call his debut album Word Life, but he decided to let another rapper use it. That rapper goes by the name of OC, of course. Search said that OC asked Nas if he could name his album Word Life, and Nas gave him his blessing. He said, "I think Nas was going to switch to Illmatic anyway, but he was playing with the idea." There's a bunch of other facts about Illmatic that I didn't get to, so if you know something about Illmatic you think most people don't know, then leave a comment below. One of the stories that I didn't talk about is how The World Is Yours was made. That's Nas' song from Illmatic that was produced by Pete Rock. So if you want to see a video about the beat-making genius that is Pete Rock, click or tap the screen to watch my video called Pete Rock Explains How He Makes Beats in Detail. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that next video. Peace.